Now join your host, Colleen Shelton, and guests meaning to you standing for the people. Where together we can gather exclusively on the voice of the community.
Good evening, good evening. It's 7 p.m. Wednesday. I'm Ali Shamsuddin, and this is Standing for the People. I say this program is brought to you by the people, that is citizens like yourself, who decided that we needed a program on again. I used to do with Mr. Tisdale, the former publisher of the Jackson Advocate newspaper, the largest Black weekly newspaper in the state. And I think even abroad, because we used to send the news all across the world. We used to do a program, Views from the Black Side, on Friday nights. So here we are on Wednesday nights. And as I say, this is a call-in show. We like to hear from you. We like to hear your questions. We like to hear your comments. So feel free to call 601-948-5950. And we're going to be dealing with topics always that can bring us information that we can use, that will help us better our community, the city, the county, and the state. And one way we have to be able to do that, one way we should be able to do that is register and vote. I mean, if we begin to realize the power that we have, and nothing's negative about that, so I don't want anybody to get misconstrued. I said voting is a democratic right that we have as a people. And here we are in the state of Mississippi, almost 40% of the population. 40% of the population, which means that we would have a tremendous impact on statewide elections if we register to vote. And I say with numbers like that, we may not always be able to determine who get put in these statewide offices or these national offices, such as senators and congresspeople and who like that. But we definitely, with numbers like that, can decide who won't go. And maybe we won't have people up in D.C. Slandering and talking about Mississippians, and particularly Black Mississippians, the way we have heard throughout the past. So we must realize it's very important that we register to vote. Now, I have in the studio with me tonight, and I'll tell the brother, I was calling brother councilman, but his name is Vernon Hartley. And he's one of the council people that, I know that I can depend on when we really want to get some facts out here. And he's not afraid to come and answer your questions. If you just think about it, how many of the people that you put in office here locally, citywide or countywide, who really don't make themselves available to you to answer the pertinent questions that you have? And it's really their role. A lot of times, when they don't understand that they're servants of the people, these really part-time jobs, legislatively they're supposed to be part-time jobs, but for the person that really understands the role that they have and the responsibilities that they have, it's a full-time job. It is a full-time job, and mainly keeping people informed and keeping our city and our county running in a manner that we all benefit. So tonight we want to try to deal with this, because last week we heard about this $30 million deficit that the city now is supposed to be strapped with, and we're wondering how we're going to deal with it, and if there is an audit. A lot of people were asking me, Brother Councilman, if there is an audit going on at all. Can you answer that for us?
Yes, sir. First of all, I'd like to thank you for this show, for again being another servant leader that's helping get the word out, and that's critical. We must continue to get the word out, communicate with our people. People are our strength, and the people are our job.
Right.
So we certainly appreciate your presence here, Your Honor. But first of all, along the question of the amount, it is not $30 million. It's $23 million that we're focusing on, and again, some folks had asked about the audit. Well, there's a company called Amic and Company. They will be conducting an audit, and hopefully fiscal year 2024 will be completed by the end of June of this year. And then we're looking at going straight into fiscal year 2025 being completed by the end of this year. So by the end of this year, we hope to have all audits up to date and everything running smoothly. Now, what the audit is going to do is it's going to, right, what it's going to do is it's going to tell us where we're at. Because right now, we're going through the budget, and I'll mention our chair of the finance committee, Miss Councilwoman Tina Clay, and we're working with the finance department, Miss Jillian Caldwell, and all the council members, and we're going line by line through all the different budget categories.
So now that's obviously is something that hasn't been done up to this point. Is there something different taking place that really mandating this?
Well, the fact of the matter is, we're obligated by state statute to complete those audits. Mm-hmm. And again, one of the benefits is we'll know where we're at. We'll know if, it's 23 million is the right number, or if it's less, or maybe even a little more. Mm-hmm. I don't anticipate it being any more. Mm-hmm. But this is something, yes, we should have been doing all along. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't have gotten this far behind concerning the audits. Mm-hmm. It's like you having your home and having a budget for your house, right? And it's updated to January. Right. Well, do you really know what's going on after that point? And the same with the city. We have to understand what's going on with our finances every single year. We can't postpone it or put it off.
Well, let me ask you this question to people ask quite often. Now, the mayor's function, and I've said many times on this program that the city council is over the budget. That is supposed to control how the money is spent.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain that relationship with the mayor and the city council?
Okay, gladly. The mayor, the city council, first of all, we have two main jobs. We can draft laws and ordinances to be obeyed around the city to make the city function well. The other major thing we do is fiduciary, is the financial part. Before any dollar of taxpayers' money is spent, then it has to go before city council. Mm-hmm. So that's that checks and balances. Okay. Now, one of the problems in the past is we were getting a lot of information as it come to us, but we weren't as involved in the budget itself. Mm-hmm. We would go through a budget process, but not line by line, not with a critical eye on and asking a lot of questions. And part of the problem was we didn't have these audits to refer to. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, when you say the budget, for instance, the city council, would you know if money was specifically spent on what they were telling you was going to be spent on? I mean, I sound like a simple question.
Well, I mean, it's a good question. There are different things you can do with information, with budgets and narratives. But we were asking, okay, if this is supposed to be spent on this lawnmower over here, mm-hmm. then it needs to be spent on the lawnmower. Right. That's what we're asking for. We're asking that, hey, we get 10 lawnmowers to cut the right of ways. Then, yeah. So when it comes before council, we approve that. Right. Well, part of the difficulty is estimating. Okay, before each budget cycle, as you're aware, mm-hmm. Budget cycles start in October. We have to identify where the dollars are going to go. Okay, right. we have to identify where it's going to go. Well, if later on, if something changes, or there's a pocket of money that's not being used, then a lot of times the administration can use it within those same categories or for something else.
Without coming back before the city council?
Well, without Yes, without coming back before city council. Now, if it's an item where it has to be voted on, a major item, $100,000, and that particular thing has to come before city council.
Mhm.
But a lot of the day-to-day operation doesn't. But it reinforced the need for us to be fully informed, not just when we sign off on an item being bought and spent, but on the background, the books,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I think that's what's happening now is we are, every council person is paying strict attention to the books. And I would even say at one time, we had an ongoing issue, during my first term with the administration. I think Councilman Banks at the time, we were going back and forth on access to those books.
Mhm. Right.
And
And why would that be? I mean, legislatively, that's your role.
I can't answer that question on all the whys, other than it doesn't serve the citizens when we don't get information.
Right.
I think the key to making those good decisions is having access. And look, if there's a problem, we need to go ahead and identify it and fix it.
Mhm.
And so I'm really thankful that we have this type of relationship with this administration, where we are smack dab into every decision.
Okay, now we hear constantly that the city of Jackson's annual budget is somewhere around 300 million, or somewhere thereabouts.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now that pool of money is sitting there. What is the city council's involvement from day one? What do you do?
Well, when we
got a call? Let's see.
go ahead.
Go ahead, call you on there. Turn your volume down, please. I'm doing Big White. I'm doing okay. You hear? I got brother councilman here.
You got him.
We're trying to figure it out in here. How you doing, Mr. Dwight?
Very well, very well. Hey, listen, I called for two things, Judge.
Mhm.
One is I told him the other night, and he could tell you what I told him. And the people at the meeting the other night said they did not want to have a water commission. We don't need a water commission. And we want him, along with all of the other councilmen and councilwomen, to vote no. We do not want a water commission. And he understood, and I think they sent the message the other night when they were beating on the table. Is it all right, Councilman Hartley?
Yes, sir.
They were beating on the table and calling the workers in regards to it. So please, we ask you, and they said the other night, that if you do not vote, then you will not be on the next council. You did hear those people say that, right? The front and in the back. You did hear that, right?
Okay, we're gonna get into that a little bit, but right now we're dealing with this budget.
Well, I want to make a statement, Judge. The other thing is we don't need a water commission. And we want him and all the councilmen to vote no. The other thing is, Judge, I want you and him both to know, because, Judge, you know how I feel. I'm passionate about voting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, today in the courthouse, there was a trial for Supervisor Archie concerning the fraud that went on with his election.
Right, I understand they recessed today until June or something of that nature.
June 3rd is when he will make this decision. He has both attorneys, both the plaintiff and the defense attorney, to supply him with a 10-page plea brief by the 15th of May. And then on June 3rd, he will make a decision by June 3rd with the 2:00 trial. He will make the decision. Now, that is where the case is. But on today, what happened, Judge?
Come on, let's be brief, Brother White. I got a topic here we want to deal with, brother.
Okay. think they had one. No. They're going to and Google WLBT elections and put David Archie name in, it'll pop up. But anyway, Judge, I appreciate the opportunity and good luck, Flip Flopper. You my guy.
All right, that big one. Anyway, we do with
compliment.
I don't understand it either,
But
but
let me say one thing. Before that meeting Monday night, I have been very, very forcefully saying no state takeover, nothing.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so
sometimes
I
people
even
need to pay attention.
and I even said it during that meeting like that. So
Right.
it's not an issue for me.
Right.
I know where I'm grounded at, and that is this: we are not giving away the airport. We're not giving away the water system. Okay,
Fantastic.
we're not giving away anything that belongs to the citizens of Jackson, and that's pretty much it. I could go in a lot, but we're talking
Well,
about a different subject.
yeah, they hear your stance on that. But
Mhm.
again, with the budget now, we talk about annually what 323 million annually, somewhere around in there.
Well, right now we're talking. Yes, sir. I'm last figure I heard was up around that 300 million.
So from day one, let's just talk about
Okay.
how's the council involved?
Okay. From day one, we start having our budget hearings in August, probably early August. Okay. Maybe, first part of August. From that budget hearing, we get to hear from all department heads. Those department heads basically come up and say, hey, this is what we've been doing the last year. This is our results, and this is how much it's going to cost.
Okay.
And at that point, they ask the council, we want an increase or we project a decrease in the budgets.
Decrease is not often happening.
That's not, we're not looking forward to decreases, no. But we get to ask questions on, hey, do you really need a decrease? Or we get to ask questions like, how is your performance?
Mhm.
How are the results? Is that working out okay?
Right.
And so,
So now the mayor steps in at what point? So
okay, so we go through that process, and towards the end, we have to come up with a budget for the fiscal year, for the upcoming October 1st.
Mhm.
When we do that, it's actually the mayor doesn't come in, it's a council thing.
Mhm.
Okay, and the
Okay.
mayor may come in and say, hey, based on, we may need to change the millage rate, or we may need to add this or that. But for the most part, it's a council thing.
So now again, well, I guess that brings to mind for me, and I recall you saying back during that time, and when we were going through this big garbage, I call it fiasco, where you were saying, if it's not broke, why fix it?
That's correct.
Okay, but it was the argument back and forth, and then the mayor went on and put the people in place anyway.
Right. Well, and again, look, I'm not going to do anything to jeopardize my reputation.
Mhm.
If I see something that looks funny, smells funny, acts funny, I'm going to back away.
Right.
And during that time, I stepped out there with a couple of trailers, and we went through Ward 5 picking up garbage.
Mhm.
I'm just, look, I got 30 years in the military, another at the same time, another almost 30 years in state government. I'm not trying to jeopardize the stuff I've done before for something that looks bad. Okay.
Okay, now this is your second term. And
This is my beginning of my second term. Yes, sir.
Yeah, when people first heard that, and I know I did, it is $30 million deficit, that's how we heard it.
Right.
I said, well, wow, the city council was sitting on $33 million, but I don't think you were on the council at that time. Were you not? That law firm got $33 million?
No, sir, I wasn't.
Right.
I wasn't. But look, we have to be financially responsible. I read a quote the other day. I think Harry Truman says, if a politician is getting rich, he's a crook. Okay, if he's making money, if he's getting well off,
He's in the wrong place.
he's in the wrong place. Okay, and it's about service, as you know.
Right.
It's about service and about serving the people.
Right. So, okay, we got, with Vicky Clay is over the finance committee.
Right, Tina Clay.
Tina,
My
yeah,
Tina.
I'm sorry, Tina Clay.
Yes.
Okay, so how does that function?
Okay.
We'll see, we take this call.
Okay, at the beginning, when a new president is picked by the rest of the council members at the beginning of July, that first meeting, then they go through and make the assignments.
Mhm.
She was picked to be the chair person over the finance committee.
Okay, now would she be the hands-on person as far as this audit is concerned?
Yes. Yes, I believe so. I mean, in her capacity, she's going to have review authority and definitely need to know. Actually, she's one of the people that was instrumental in getting this audit firm.
Okay, and what's the name of them?
It's Amick and Company.
And they're from where?
They're out of Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, and we expect to know what when they finish with this.
We want to know the fund balance. We want to know exactly where, first of all, for fiscal year 24, how did we end that? Did we end up with money, in the bank, or did we end up with a deficit? And then by the end of the year, fiscal year 25 audit of that whole year. And again, asking those same questions, but also the audit should tell us where we have discrepancies, where we need to change things within finance.
Mhm.
And one of the issues that we've had with past audits is we've been repeating the same mistakes over and over. In other words, those same discrepancies go from 21, 22, 23, and have not been resolved. And I was frankly told, because I'm like, hey, let's fix them all now. And it's going to take some time to correct all of them. And so
when we just bluntly, will we expect to find missing monies at all?
I think this is a little, perhaps yes, but this is not quite a forensic audit where you get to go through and, hey, you follow trails and so forth. This is more of, hey, here's the budget, evaluate it, and evaluate some of those processes that supports it.
Right.
What is finance doing? Are they getting their reports in? How are we in compliance with state law? Now, that forensic audit, I believe, is really, really needed.
Right. Now, Senator Norwood, a couple of weeks ago on the program, he said to the people, one of the reasons the city of Jackson is not getting as much funding as they would have is simply because of these audits. And have you seen that type of impact since you've been on the council?
Well, and I mean, it's sort of like this: when you go to the bank to get a loan,
right?
They're gonna want to see, financial. They're gonna want to see that you are healthy enough and you're doing the right things to qualify for us giving you money. And so it's the same way with the state and federal government and others. Right. A lot of them have as a requirement, you show us your audits, your financial books.
Right.
And if we don't have any, that's a strike against us.
So that sounds simple again, but the excuses that would be given to the council in terms of why this hasn't been done, I imagine you've heard them all. But
yes, sir, I have heard pretty much all.
But how many members have to go along with that?
Well, again, we're relying on the administration to. We hear excuses in the past. Some of the excuses have been, well, we don't have, they didn't send us the right information to complete the audit. The city is holding on to some information, or, it was that kind of stuff. It was a little misunderstandings or miscommunication between the auditor and the city, and both are pointing fingers at each other as to what was causing those delays.
Go ahead, Carter, you're on there. Yeah.
I was wondering about, you're saying about the artists and all this. I remember back here a year or so ago when they said that the past administration hadn't heard, how much money was in the budget. And that's supposed to be a requirement. So the mayor couldn't get paid a check unless he had produced the budget. I'm just saying, and that brings me back to almost where we are at now. And could you help me explain that to me?
Well, as far as I know, I haven't seen that as a practice, or I haven't really heard it as a law. It should be, because it's that important.
They must have to have a registered budget produced for the city council. You all were saying that y'all he hadn't gave y'all one.
Right. And I think I've heard something along that same line, but that issue has not been pressed in the past. We're hoping to.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's not pressed. That's all I can hear is when the governor just said about that inadequate members of that city council. I love you, brother Howard. I love all of them, but. It's inadequate. When you let that line go by for the water, and all of that, again, don't nobody know nothing. Every time you look around, don't nobody know nothing. But then you come up with a budget, and you ain't got no budget. You say, we don't do that. All we do is put together a board to hear this and delegate. Who is to be delegated? That's one thing that's troubling me for a long time with the city council.
We appreciate your questions, brother. You want to expound on that? As far as, I guess he's saying how do things get to like they were without the council knowledge?
Oh, council had knowledge. And every time the CFA, the chief financial officer, would come up, we would have questions. We would drill them down. But a lot of times it was a dodge game. And I'm sure if legal had presented that as an option, we would have used that, hey, the mayor doesn't get paid until we see that until we see that past budget, a budget audit. But this is where we're at right now.
So it's in the mayor's hand as the executive
yes,
branch.
Right. It's the executive branch. The mayor's over the chief financial officer. Okay. He's over that person. You appoint that person. Now, if that guy gets up there and tap dance, say this, say that, and like I said, previously, we had difficulties even seeing the books. And it took council resolutions for us to authorize folks to go in there and get information from us. Okay. And again, I'm not making excuses, but what I am saying to the listeners out there,
right?
June the 30th, we will have an end of a budget. We will have a complete, this June the 30th, that's almost 60 days.
Right.
We will have fiscal year 24 budget done. 6 months from then, we will have fiscal year 25 budget done. Now that's a lot more than in the past we've gotten done. Right. And I would say part of the reason is we have totally open access, and we are totally working with this administration on every detail. That didn't happen before.
Right.
And I would say Peter Taylorson, the chief administrative officer, or some folks call him deputy mayor, he's been amazing in making sure that we get everything, clearance, everything. And we are in that decision-making process concerning the money with the administration. And that's what we always needed.
Well, now that's answering the question, and what people, as you heard the caller just say, people want to know, how are we keeping track of the money? Who really has the hands on the reins, Well,
up until now, city council, we had, it was almost like a formality. Okay. And, a lot of times our objective is, okay, how this money as a tool is being used. And so we, you know, I'll speak for myself. I wanted to know the impact. Hey, is this going to do this to our community? Is this going to provide us with this service, et cetera? You had a lot of quote unquote folks on the council that was more into the details. But if we didn't have access to the computers
Mhm.
until later in the game, you know, it's no, you know, we couldn't question things. And the administration had all that information, and we had nothing.
Well-
And we were even kept out of the financial software. And
Well, as I mentioned, there was at least 3, sometimes 4 council members that would basically go along with whatever the mayor brought to the council. But let's just say it this way: in your ward, particularly, let's just say it was in the budget that we're going to pave 2 or 3 streets in your ward.
okay.
At the end of the year, they ain't done, but the money is gone. How do you find out what happened there?
Well, that's kind of different because we have the 1% commission that kind of oversee the paving. But if it's not done, then yes, when it comes up, the contractor, when you know, right now I'm over the Public Works Commission committee.
Well, let's
I
say,
get to
for
ask
instance,
those questions
those
now.
community summer swimming pools, summer's coming up.
Okay.
Okay, then let's just say, I don't know how many you got in your ward, but let's just say none of them are open, and they should be. What?
I agree. It should be. That's under, you know, the mayor's billywhack.
Okay.
Okay, unless, you know, unless we come up with a resolution to direct him to do certain things.
Okay.
And that's, you know, and then that requires a vote of the
Right.
council members. We can come up with a resolution that says, hey, look, you know, city council, we are ordering the mayor to do A, B, and C.
Right. Okay.
you know,
Let's say he doesn't do it.
You know, then he's in legal violation then.
Okay.
So what we're asking for and what we've always sought for is a working relationship, a unified relationship.
Mhm.
I think our best chances are right now on having that.
Mhm.
And to start out with folks going for it, look for 60 days, next 60 days, and look for a
So
fiscal
you
year.
categorically saying it right now.
I'm saying it. Look, I got off the phone with the CFO.
Mhm.
And this is another thing. Before, I couldn't go down the chain and talk to people.
Mhm.
If I wanted to talk to a director or something like that,
Right.
it was up to
And
know, the mayor, you know. And so that kind of hindered us gaining information. And I'm not making excuses. What I am saying is that we have a brand new start.
Mhm.
We have a good thing going. We have a great relationship.
Okay.
Now I can put my stamp on the budget
Right.
without not be quiet because I'm involved with it. I'm in the weeds. Every council member now is engaged with every line of that budget. And with CFO Tayson, he just tells us like it is. This is what we got. We show it and we start working from there. And that's the kind of relationship the people voted for and the kind of relationship they want.
Well, absolutely. That's what, I keep getting calls about. I think we got a call here on one. And I think that we're gonna hold off on them because we don't want to get into that. Is that Archie? Is that Archie? Okay, we're gonna hold off on that one right now. And we're gonna deal with the budget. I don't want to get into the lawsuit case right now. Get us too far into the weeds.
Well,
Okay, but again, people want to know but you said we $30 million and things.
yeah, it's 23 million, and we're working on that. We have almost every week we're having a finance meeting to look at ways to lower that.
So, and I know I may ask this, but I'm gonna do it again.
Okay.
Do you have an idea how that even happened? How $23 million? I mean,
Bad bookkeeping, lack of oversight. No. And then oversight, including council oversight when we could get it in the past, and then also oversight of an audit. If an audit is a year or so behind, then that auditor is supposed to go through there and verify all the information.
Well, why would they? And I know you legislative now, the city council, but why would the executive branch not do what's necessary for us to get money. Here the state of say, okay, we ain't getting you any money because you didn't do an audit. Give us some
I
insight
see.
on that.
Yeah, I see where I see where you're at.
Uh,
And the bottom line is that look, if you don't have anything to hide, then just throw it out there.
I see.
I guess I will let folks draw their own conclusions
Mhm.
on why, but it is not right that we had to go through over a year or so of back and forth over our ability to see the numbers in the budget.
Well, that's one
Just
thing.
get the surface numbers.
There's one thing that Senator Norwood even stressed when he was talking, on the show, and he was saying, here's money sitting here that we can't give to the city because they're not performing what is necessary.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. The last CFO, man, I almost every time, and a lot of times, just say mismanagement
Mhm.
in a lot of areas.
Mhm.
We would find receipts when folks would leave, and yet we're still getting receipts back from 23, somebody's desk or something. That's just a classic mismanagement of our finances. We got to a point where vendors weren't trusting us,
Yeah.
and that's a problem.
We had a truck repossessed at one point. Yeah, I think it was.
And so that's a management problem that have to be fixed, have to be corrected. And I believe going forward, those things are getting corrected. But there were some dark days down there, and we were asking the questions without just totally acting a fool. We were asking the questions.
Yeah.
But hey, man, if somebody don't want to open up and give you everything,
Mhm.
because it ain't about me, it ain't about you, it ain't about looking bad. It's
Right.
about us solving problems for the
Right.
citizens.
Taking care of business, right?
And yeah, some dark days. And I'm grateful now. We're at a lot of sunshine.
Right.
We're not trying to pin administrations, and we're not trying to go backwards.
Right.
Okay. And I'm just saying from my perspective on the council, we are making the right moves to fix issues, even though these issues were created years ago.
So what can you say to your constituents in your ward in terms of things that they think are a priority and they bring them to you?
Mhm.
Do you foresee that you'll have any impact on the things that they
Well,
want?
first of all, is holding the executive branch, responsible.
Right.
So when people bring it to me, and I have one of the highest rates of issues being turned into the city process
Mhm.
now, and I'm a legislator.
Mhm.
I take their concerns, I listen to their concerns, I help them where I can, and then I put it into the city system. Now, it's important that we develop certain processes to make that thing happen,
Okay.
but you have to be managing right.
Right.
Those decisions, overseeing the directors, holding them accountable, overseeing the managers of the divisions, holding them accountable, holding everyone accountable in the process.
So you see that actually taking place?
Yes, sir. I see it now. I see a lot more of it now than I ever have. And that's because we're at the table. City council is at the table.
Go ahead, Carly, on there.
Thank you for accepting my call, Judge. And Mr. Hartley,
Yes, ma'am.
I was seeing you all on the job that you all are doing. For the first time in like 8 years, you actually see city workers out working on more than doing things in this city. So I commend you guys. I know you were the catalyst behind a lot of that. So we commend you guys on your effort. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I was fortunate enough to be put as the chair of the Public Works. Now, Public Works is my background.
Oh, okay.
And so,
That's encouraging.
Right. And so with
Turn
that,
your volume down, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I just had a question for the councilman about,
sure.
who are we talking to about the grass cutting in the public places in the neighborhoods?
Okay, there's two things. Right now, we have a contract out, and I had a public works meeting today, committee meeting today. We have a right-of-way contractor that within every 2 weeks, they make rounds throughout the city cutting the right-of-ways. Now, this doesn't include the neighborhoods, but these are the main streets like Highway 80 and Northside Drive and the main thoroughfares. Now, what are we going to do about the neighborhoods? And this is again.
What about the like Robinson, all the way from Highway 80 back to Bobby Rush?
That's
That area.
that's a right of way. That's a major right of way, and that will be cut. And if it doesn't, I need a call. But I drive up and down that road all the time. This contractor is responsible for all right of ways. We're getting their equipment. We have some Parks and Rec folks that are taking care of the cemeteries. And also we're looking to expand their area out into the neighborhoods. But with this Blythe equipment, we're hoping to be able to quickly go through the neighborhoods as well. Our neighborhoods have it's been a long time since they received the type maintenance that they really need. And so that's the plan. By the end of June, we should have all our Blythe equipment, including zero-turn mowers, skid steers, forestry mulch cutters, side cutters. We did an experiment over in the Washington Edition on about 3 roads. We found out that we didn't have any of the equipment that we really needed. I asked the mayor for $2.5 million, and I got like 1.3 or 1.4. And I told him I'll be back next year to ask for more. It's that important. We have to restore this order and this cleanliness to our neighborhoods. It's just a shame. So, and hopefully from my perch as chair of the Public Works, I will continue to press these issues.
Appreciate your call, brother. You know, so again, as you can see, people really trying to see how do we get into this? But the main thing is how do we get out?
Day-to-day question. And look, man, the folks have been patient. And to be real, they've been very, very patient. And today I'm asking the Public Works Director, when can they see these right-of-ways? Well, it'll take about 2 weeks and they should see the major right-of-ways. Well, when can they see the areas inside the neighborhoods? Well, once we get all the equipment in, we get our teams together, and
Right.
Hey, that's our main focus.
Right.
And I want, and all of this is going to go into putting together a plan, a package to submit it to HUD. We want to get more millions of dollars for blight elimination, house tearing down, and other things.
Is this Buckley here? Get down toward the end. Which line? Go ahead, call you on there.
All right, Judge, I had tried to call earlier. I had to step away a moment. I heard that gentleman speaking earlier, talking about Supervisor David. He's ex-Supervisor David. I can. The people have spoken, and we have to go back to the polls. We'll speak again. We don't want it.
Thank you for your call. And I'm trying not to get off the topic here,
Yeah.
It's not your bailiwick.
Well, there are so many issues that we get caught up on, and I really think we need to stay focused
Right.
on a lot of things that democracy is important. Let's
Well,
get that.
and
But,
again,
but,
that's what
but
we
we can't
said.
we can't we can't become personal with issues.
Right.
We got to keep things professional.
Right.
We got to keep things professional.
Well, again, as people, you hear people saying they want to have confidence in, what the city council is doing out there. But how about community meetings? Are you conducting community meetings?
Man, I go to 2 or 3 community meetings a week.
Do you really?
I go to the monthly COPS meeting. I go to the monthly West Central Jackson Improvement Association meeting. I go to any opportunity folks call me up, I'm there.
Mhm.
I am not hiding. You'll see me in Walmart or at the gas station or at a community meeting. I invite everybody to support their local communities. And so in the space of
Okay.
wow, you are busy tonight.
I told you bring it. Go ahead, Brother Wall.
But you just cannot sit by and let it show in without listening to the fact that the Supreme Court made a decision today. And legally, the judge, not the judge, but they thought who's governor of the state, and they'll call it quick election. Now, we only have 4 districts. And one of those districts is black. Predominantly black.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you need to do? Is going to give us 2 districts instead of just 1? What is this plan? Instead of redrawing the districts. I just sort of put that out there. Thank you.
All right,
That's
brother.
my call.
That is in fact sad.
Really. And explain it to the people what he was saying.
Basically, you know, the Republican Party know that they're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
They are in trouble because of a lot of the practices, because the demonstrations, because a lot of the things that have been going on in government. So now's the time the Supreme Court chimed in and said, hey, look, we're going to cause all these black districts to kind of be merged in. So in essence, the black vote will be diluted.
Hmm. See, that's what
I
we
mean,
said.
it's all those things in
Right.
order to prevent, being put out of power.
Right.
And a lot of these folks getting put out of power, they're getting put into jail.
Right.
So right now, this is the start of, well, they've been starting, but it's continuation of making sure that they can be retained in power.
Yeah.
That's my perspective.
And if we don't register to vote, we'll continue to keep getting that type of mindset here. Go ahead, Carly, on there.
Sure. This guy, and when you don't get personal, he was doing helping the entire general public. It is not correct, and it's not a good thing to have people to do what happened with his election. They cannot.
We went into that, brother. I'm sorry to cut you off, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut that. We trying to stay on focus here.
Well, I understand, but I just wanted to make sure to have a new election. It's gonna happen, brother. He wants it to happen, whether or not.
I think the judge. Thank you. I think the judge is gonna determine that. You know, I can appreciate what he's involved in this, but the people have to know other issues as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of other issues. And look, man, if you're looking for me, I'm a 30-year vet, and I'm all democracy all the way. And there's mistakes made that need to be fixed.
Right.
And that's in the hands of the judge.
I'm actually involved in a case myself, but where in a town or Aquila, but justice and democracy is what we're supposed to be about. And, that's why I'm saying for you as an elected official, people expect to see progress. They expect to see production. We tired of, as James Rogers say, talking loud and saying nothing.
Or apparently Lou Hamer, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Folks, any kind of honeymoon is over. It's time. And I told the finance person last week, I said, hey, look, and Mr. Tableson, if folks ain't doing their job, they gotta go.
Yeah,
you have to go, and I don't care if you're not doing it, if you're not working for the city to move the city ahead, if you're out there slacking around or whatever, you need to go.
Well, as I keep saying too, Councilman, if we live in an era now that Jackson is not one of those places that's off the map anymore. I mean, what happens here in Jackson, is international now, and the whole world is watching.
Right.
I had someone calling me from New York today talking about what's happening down there in Jackson, what they seeing on the news, you know what I'm saying, and why everybody going to jail. You know what I'm saying? And some of that's got to quit, man. It's just absolutely got to quit.
Yes, sir.
It just have to.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. That last call, be brief, please.
Okay, this is gonna be brief as it can be. Your records show what you do. Always remember that Jackson Water and everything else, you supported Vernon Hartley.
I'm sorry.
What you appreciated. You did not do what the people appreciated, and that was support. You did not do that. If you vote to give Jackson Water to the state, and its majority African American, people of color, and whether you got any type of melon, if you're Indian, you are Mexican, if you
Okay.
are or whatever you are, we are the majority,
Right.
and you're giving it away.
Okay, thank you.
Don't give it away. That's genocide.
Okay.
Okay, you want
Yeah, let me say one thing. First of all, I'm 97% African. Okay, that's the first thing. Let's get straight there. Second of all, I didn't even vote for the federal folks to take over the water system. And I'm not trying to give anything away. So, you may want to check your records a little bit. Go back to that first vote where the federal government assumed. That was signed by your mayor and voted on by that 4 members. Me, Stokes, and somebody else. We said, you didn't tell us about it. We haven't read anything. You're not sharing information. No. And so, I just wanted to clarify that. I appreciate
that's what this program is about, man. There's a lot of information that goes out there.
And right now, I am leading the charge on the city council for no state takeover. I will be testifying within the next 2 weeks against the state takeover at the airport, because I've been fighting that fight since 2014 when they first, as a commissioner.
Right.
And so, look, I'm not trying to justify myself. I'm just saying, get the record straight.
Well, this is why I say to people, when they, just like I appreciate all the calls that we get.
Yeah.
Because I say some people, and you'd be surprised, some people I've invited to come on the show, but they are afraid to get calls just like this. You see what I'm saying?
Not me. I'm sorry, it's your show.
But
now,
I'm saying,
my show, I'll be different.
But you want to know that when you say you're gonna be here, you be here. Man.
Yeah,
and that's opening up to people like you said.
And we don't need to make this stuff personal.
No.
My records speak for itself. For everything, and I'm good. I serve something different. I serve a God that either.
If you have a priority right now in yourself, and I know you just put out your stance on this state takeover for any of our resources, but do you have a particular priority for yourself in terms of what you like to accomplish this term?
Yes.
And what was that?
And that's blight.
Okay.
That is clearing every vacant lot. That's tearing down houses. That's coming up with laws against these burnout structures that you see everywhere. There's trash and litter and open dumping. It is blight that's killing our community. And the 1,900 properties that's owned by the state of Mississippi in a state of blight in the city of Jackson.
Well,
so it's blight.
That is depressing. Yeah. I appreciate you coming, brother,
Sir,
down to the end.
Man, I'm gonna let you know.
But look, that just shows the people, the type of backbone you got, man. And that's what we are. That's what we're about. As I say, this is not a gossip show. If we can't bring you some facts, we shouldn't be here. And that's what we're gonna do.
And I appreciate everything you do. I've admired you for your stance and your legal standings.
Appreciate it.
Much mad respect there. I appreciate it. And
well, we're gonna have you back as soon as we can.
Yeah, let the dust settle a little bit, and folks can call in on my show on Wednesdays at 10, and we can have the same conversation. And I won't embarrass you. Okay?
No, you did well. You did just what I needed you to do, brother.
Yeah, I'm not one of these other councilmen that. No, I talk back. I'm West Jackson.
Put it where it is. Like I say, I can always depend on you.
All right, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
As I say, next week, people, standing for the people. I'm Alex Johnson, and that's what we're here for. We're here to bring the facts to you so that we know how to deal with our government. Because in Jackson and in Hinds County, we are the government. I ain't saying that no negatively. I'm just saying that from a responsibility aspect. We as African Americans need to show the world that things can progress with us in charge. As Charles ever used to say, when you're in charge, be in charge. Take us out.
Man, I had a lot of the group. You too. Look, man, I'm sorry.
Man, you got to do it again.
I just don't want to embarrass you.
No,
Okay?
you did what I man, look, not at all.
Because folks call me, people that know me. I'm gonna, hey,
Well, see, in the end, people appreciate that, man, because you put it like it is.
yeah,
Appreciate
yeah. Hey, look, man, I ain't got time, man. I'm on my dime. I get negative.
Oh, I'm not.
Hey.
Yes.
How you doing? See you again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be out your way in a second.
Okay. I